Lagos is one of Africa's best choice cities with leading and brightest potentials for industrialization, economic growth and development. This is why we believe in Lagos on the City of Lagos TV show. We'll be right back. Welcome to Lagos Update on the City of Lagos TV show, where we bring you latest news developments across the city. The Lagos State Ministry of Information and Strategy recently organized the Citizens Media Engagement Forum, which was aimed at facilitating dialogue and collaboration between the government and citizens to foster a more inclusive and participatory governance process. The event, which was held at the STO Resort Center, Alausa Ikeja, Lagos, saw in attendance media practitioners from across the print and electronic media, as well as heads of information agencies in Lagos State. In his welcome address, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mr. Olumide Shogunle, noted the strategic relevance and importance of the Pali.
This is just another of our initiatives to get closer to you, tell us how we are faring, tell you our plans for the future, and get constructive and frank feedback. This kind of Pali is going to take place more often than it used to be. And it is because of the landmark achievements of Lagos State. Everybody has their eyes on us. They want to know what we are doing. They want to know where we are going. And it is you who are just our first friends, if I can put it that way, that will help us propagate the gospel. Lagos State government has a blue line, it has a red line, it's looking forward to a green line and also a purple line. So we want to give the media advanced information on what the Sanwo-Olu administration is doing. So, I want us to be open, sincere with us. If we are doing well, tell us. If we are not doing good enough, let us know. And most importantly, please give us suggestions because you live amongst the people.
For the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Mr. Motisho, he used the occasion to highlight giant strides of the Babajide Sanwo-Olu government.
For me today, it's not just a day of recounting all those things that you already know. It's an opportunity for me to say thank you to you because you have really done well in propagating all the policies and explaining to people all of the things that we are doing in this administration. Like I said, people say in Yoruba that if a kid falls, it looks forward. But if an elderly person sleeps, he looks back to find out what has happened. So for me, it's good to start from 2024. It was a very challenging year. But despite everything, when people ask me, what is it that you think is the most important thing that the government did last year? I usually tell them that the most exciting thing for me is the coming on board of the Red Line, which Mr. Governor started and promised that he was going to complete in his administration. People always tell us it took us a very long time to complete the blue line. But nobody says that of the red line. Today is up and running, and I feel it's a great feat that even internationally has been recognized. So when people ask me, the most exciting moment of 2024, I usually tell them, is the day that we launched the red line. And like that documentary has shown, we are not relenting in transportation. Apart from what you have seen in water transportation, On the day that many people went on holiday, May 29, 2024, Mr. Governor went to commission 15 boats, ferries that are good comparable to anyone that you can find anywhere in the world. Ferries that were built by our young engineers. Ferries that do not just stand there as a means of transportation, but symbols of what is possible in Nigeria, symbols of what is possible in Lagos, because they were built right here in Lagos by our young engineers. Very soon, we will be commissioning about 10 again to make up to 25. So in Lagos, we've been able to bring together 3 modes of transportation. If you want to go by rail today, from Agbado all the way to Igwe, the heart of the mainland, the journey that used to cost about 3 hours of bumping, 3 hours of sweating, 3 hours of groaning. Today, it's just about 35 minutes of a smooth ride, air-conditioned ride.
And that's it on Lagos Update. Next is from the Governor's Office platform on the City of Lagos TV show. We'll be right back. The business of governance for Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is serious business. His activities and itineraries speaks volume for effective administration of Lagos State. Let's now share with you right away recent developments of Mr. Governor from the Governor's Office segment on the City of Lagos TV show on TV Nigeria. We'll be right back. And first, from the Governor's Office platform, the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, recently received in audience the registrar and executives of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAMB, headed by Professor Isiaq Oloyede, on a courtesy visit to Mr. Governor. The visit was a unique opportunity for the JAMB registrar to solicit for land infrastructure to expand its CBT center, considering the huge population of candidates in Lagos.
Lagos and Ogun Axis, I believe you deserve double of such in terms of candidates coming from you. 15% of the entire candidates of JAMB come from Lagos State. Yet, you have less than 10% of the CBT centers in the country, which will make us to be conducting the exam that we could conduct in 1 or 2 days in 10 days, because we have to set 40 sets of questions in order to be able, because the facilities are not there. And some of the private CBT centers, Your Excellency, they are supporting us. We cannot denigrate them, but they are not meant. The primary purpose was to make money, and therefore they cut corner, and we have to manage them. I know that we are endowed, but at times we have this mismatch. For example, 90% of the candidates are from the mainlands. That is the mainland, Lagos to Ikeja, to Ikorodu, to Badagry. 90% of the candidates, but only 10% are from the island. But the center, our office is in Ikoyi, which means both staff and students will have to be moving to Ikoyi and coming back. This is a mismatch, even within Lagos. And that created a lot of problem for us. But when we could not, as our own step towards solving the problem, because it will be difficult for me to explain that I'm registrar of JAMB for 10 years, and all we can point to in Lagos is that we cannot get CBT center. Yes, what I did recently was to get the board, with the support of the Federal Executive Council, to buy a five-floor building in Ikeja Ogba for 330 million from AMCON. We bought this so that we can start to readjust and bring some people. But this is going to, even at the best time, after completion of the renovation which we are starting, it will solve only part of the problem. It is therefore, for this reason, that we are calling on Your Excellency to look at the possibility of giving us a suitable plot of land in Ojo Festac Axis and my 12 and Ikorodu Axis.
On his part, Mr. Governor promised to provide the necessary and strategic land space for JAMB to meet up its expansion target in Lagos.
Having listened to you, the minimum we can do is to make your job a lot better. Is to ensure that as you have come and as a responsible and responsive government, we partner with you. You know, even for our own selfish benefits, if this government that we are, if we can increase higher institution from 1 in terms of a university to 3 that we have in Lagos now, you know, so it goes to show that we are a willing partner. And so what you've asked us to do is a minimum that is expected. So we're going to, out of this meeting, ensure that look for, you know, sizable plot of land in Ojo, in Ikorodu, and Mile 2 area, you know, for the board, so that we can, even if you want, jointly put together things, you know, I mean, because that's it's for our children, it's for our citizens, you know, but we'll try and look for the land, and we'll call upon you, we'll get a contact person that can work with us, you know, and can ensure that we get to work on that.
The need to foster strong partnership and collaboration between the newly elected executive of the Muslim community in Lagos State and the Lagos State government formed the subject matter at a recent courtesy visit by the Muslim group to Governor Sanwo-Olu. Honorable Mohammed Oyinlomo Damole, who led the team, applauded the great achievements of the governor. And Mr. Governor equally attested to the fact that the new Muslim leadership will surely live up to expectation.
This visit is important to the Muslim community as well as the government. A few days ago, we were sworn in, that's a few weeks ago. But we believe that before we move, we must see those in the seat of power in the state, because it behoves on the Muslim community to partner with the governor, to partner with your government, because Lagos needs harmonious atmosphere, most especially among all the religions. And I believe today we have come to let you know that we're going to partner with you. We're going to partner with you in terms of even your programs, propagating as if we are your PRO. But one thing, sir, that we've been doing before, because I was part of this place some times ago, we usually call the religious leaders when there are programs of importance that will affect the life of the people in the public. We usually bring them together to let them know what we want to do, to go and synthesize the people. And by the time they come back, you have the ears on the ground and know what the people are talking about, your programs. And that was how we are able to sell a lot of our programs. We are ready to partner with you on this. Just let us know. We'll be your mouthpiece.
First, really, is to congratulate you on your well-deserved elected position. When people are elected to leadership position, it's because the followers believe that you have the skill, you have what it takes to lead them. And so it's a huge position of responsibility. But given the fact that we know most of you and we know your pedigree, we believe that they have chosen well. So on that note, we want to wish you all the very best. We want to request that during your period that you further deepen the peaceful cohabitation and relationship that Lagos State is known for, that will further deepen it, will further ensure that we engage one another on a regular basis, and will continue to live in peace and harmony. For us, we see you as an important stakeholder in governance. For us, we see you as a critical arm of government that we need to continue to engage. As stakeholders in government, once the main arm of government, which is the service, the very many other arms of government are religious leaders and are traditional institutions. So your leadership is well enshrined and is well noted, in the critical stakeholder engagement that we have in the states.
The Lagos State Governor recently received in audience the High Commissioner of Rwanda on a courtesy visit to Mr. Governor. Sustained partnership and strong collaboration formed the crux of the discussion between the Rwandan High Commissioner to Nigeria, Christophe Baziwamu, and the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, during a recent courtesy visit to Mr. Governor. They both shared the opinion that both countries have potentials that will be of great mutual benefits to both parties.
But we have been collaborating in many areas, especially when it comes to capacity building. We have got numbers of Rwandans being trained here, and also numbers of Nigerians being trained in Rwanda, most especially in the defense and security areas. But you have good cooperation also in air transport. Rwanda Air flies Kigali, Lagos 5 times a week, and you have also signed Rwanda and Nigeria a joint permanent commission for cooperation agreement. This was done in 2021, and under this there are actually a lot of activity being done, and you have also negotiated and concluded with double taxation avoidance agreement, which is pending signature, and this will allow actually our traders, business people from Nigeria or from Rwanda, to avoid paying twice doing business. This will be something which is very positive. And we, Your Excellency, have also this policy of visa free, allowing Nigerians, Africans, Commonwealth people and Francophone people to enter visa free in Rwanda. And actually it is an opportunity to invite people from Lagos to feel comfortable coming home in Kigali, in Rwanda. Your Excellency, I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate you for the re-election in 2023, but most importantly, congratulate you for achievements.
So there are several things that are going well, for both of us, but we just need to be able to, in a more structured manner, encourage, especially business to business, encourage people to people interaction. You talked about dispute resolution, the international, arbitration center. We also have one, here where they can collaborate, they can share experience, they can do a lot of knowledge sharing. We really don't need to travel 10 hours, 15 hours to go and solve our problems when we have ourselves just next door to one another. So, Mr. Ambassador, I share, your vision. I am quite enthused. I'm quite impressed with the work you have set for yourself, with the level of engagement you are willing to take, and ensuring that the bilateral relationship between the two countries continue to improve and enhance.
And finally, from the governor's office, the new Deputy High Commissioner of Canada to Nigeria equally paid Mr. Governor a courtesy visit, sustaining the bilateral relationship, consolidating on critical areas of commercial partnership formed the key subject matters during the courtesy visit to Governor Sanwo-Olu by the new Deputy High Commissioner of Canada to Nigeria. They both attested to the fact that Canada-Nigeria relationship is a formidable one which requires opening up and exploring new frontiers.
We recognized, of course, that Lagos State is a key driver to that relationship, and hence the idea of coming to both speak to you about what Canada is doing, what is our plan for the coming years, but also to learn and hear from you about the priorities and some of the areas of interest as we progress in this relationship. And finally, and most importantly, important for me to also convey that I am the Deputy High Commissioner here in Lagos, but we have a recently arrived High Commissioner based in Abuja who would love to also have an opportunity to, once he presents his credentials to the President, to come to Lagos and meet with you.
We are happy with the level of relationship that we've had, Lagos State, with the Canadian Deputy High Commissioner's office. The last 5.5 years that I've been here as the governor, I think I have received, you'll be the third, if not the fourth, in that whole space. And at each of those activities, we have further strengthening, and express the willingness to deepen the current relationship that exists, of course, first between the two countries, but more importantly, in the trade part, with Lagos. In similar line, that's why also the cabinet members that are here are in areas where we can all deepen whatever is the existing level of trade relationship you have now, but we can deepen it. I believe outside of the very large person-to-person relationship that Nigerians and Canadians have, or Canadians and Nigerians, I think it's important that we take it, up to a corporate level, where business to business can further, relate better, and where government to business or business to government also can enhance those relationships. And so that's why, for example, the Commissioner for Innovation, Science and Tech is here, as one of our strong areas of, activating a very strong technology-driven, environment that we have that we want to sustain, in areas, around innovation, in areas around AI, and everything that, enables and enhance, technology. The Commissioner for Cooperative, this mouthful. Cooperative trade, commerce, and investment. She puts everything all together. She wants to be commerce, she wants to be cooperative, she wants to be trade, she wants to be, she's also here, who literally see all of the bilateral, engagements as into, and holding businesses, also coming here and being able to also do a lot of leapfrogging, either with the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry or even directly, with our ministry. They have actually been able to unbundle several companies, from different parts of the world. And I think, our office is always open, to that, to further.
And that's a wrap from the Governor's Office platform on this broadcast. The City of Lagos TV show will continue in a moment. You're still watching the City of Lagos TV show on TV Nigeria. Welcome to another interesting episode of Lagos Agencies in Focus. This is a platform where we zero in on very strategic agencies in Lagos State. But the organization we are in right now, it's actually much, much bigger than an agency. This is an academy. And we're talking about the Lateef Jakonde Leadership Academy. This is one of the pet project of the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. And to a large extent, this is one academy that is beginning to change the dynamics of leadership in Lagos. And of course, when you talk about leadership, we're talking about the ability to influence and to guide. And most importantly, it is also a very fundamental aspect of governance. If you get leadership right, you've got everything right. And so today we're going to be speaking with the Executive Secretary of the Lateef Jakonde Leadership Academy. She is Aisha Agbaje Okunade. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you for having
It's a pleasure
me.
to have
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you very, very much.
Managing an academy of this nature, I think it's quite important we get to know you better. Maybe you can give us a very brief but precise profile of your personality and your professional background.
I'm Aisha Agbaje Okunade. I have a background in law, master's in international relations and democratic politics. I'm married to an amazing man. I was, prior to being in this role, I've been in the public service for about 6-7 years. I worked in Kaduna State, so I actually joined Kaduna State through a fellowship as well. And then I was special assistant to Malam Nasir Rufai. And then I transferred to Lagos, and I was senior special assistant to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on development partnerships before obviously coming into this role as executive secretary. Prior to being in public service, I worked in a lot of the third sector, which is a development sector, which is NGO, so we call it the third sector. So I worked in places like Tanzania. I was also an associate at the International Citizen Service, which is a UK government organization in partnership with DFID, whereby we just literally integrate young people that have been marginalized for a long time and also troubled, or more or less they just need guidance, which is a bit of what we do here. So this is not my first rodeo at young people and managing young people. I have professional certificates from Harvard, Cambridge, and many more.
What informed the establishment of this academy?
So that's a question for Mr. Governor, but I would attempt to answer by all means. I hope I can do it as much justice. So I believe that when we look at Nigeria today, you ask what has been our major problem, most people would likely say leadership, and it's that gap in leadership that informed the creation of this academy. That's number one. Also, secondly, you have the great Alhaji Lateef Jakonde, who was a transformative leader of Lagos State for a term. And he was able to do so much and embodies great and strong leadership ideals that are very beneficial to the citizens. And Mr. Governor thought, why not also name this after him and also some of those values? Because they're not just centered around him alone. They are values that exceptional leaders should carry in order to be able to take a country from maybe a third world to a first world, or to transform the life of citizens. Because being a leader, it's not an acoustic situation. It's an orchestra. It has different dynamism to it. It has values, it has commitment, it has integrity, different moral values that you need to carry in order to be a good leader, empathy, and many more. The academy is obviously created to teach young people a lot of these things and a lot of the fundamentals of leaderships, particularly as they slowly rise to the call of leadership in their various community. Who passes the baton on to say, okay, this is how I've done it. You know, the journey is always easier when you have people that have done it already tell you how it's done, you know, and it's always smoother, it's always easier. And I think it's a privilege we all enjoy. Someone has passed something to us that has made our journey worthwhile. And Latija Konde Leadership Academy is doing that much more holistically and in the vision of Mr. Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu.
Quite interested. Now, to become a fellow of the academy involves undergoing a structural process. So can you give us an insight into that structural process?
In order to bring in a fellow, we have our website, www.ljlo.academy, and we open our portals. So they go through the portals whereby you put in your application or your expression of interest rather. So we call it the EOI, whereby you put that in, and looking after the EOI, then we select you to see if you've met the eligibility criteria. Now, our eligibility criteria is pretty simple. It's just be Nigerian, be between the ages of 25 to 35, have at least 2 years working experience, and also have your NYC certificates or even an exemption. So we then take you to the next stage, which is a computer-based test, which comprises of an aptitude test, numerical, logical reasoning, and general knowledge. And it's just the odd stuff that you use for graduate internships or graduate entry-level jobs here. So that's basic. And then if you do scale through for that, so we recently introduced the essay writing, whereby we ask you on a topic and we ask you to write critically to test your writing skills. We actually have an independent committee that does the selection. And then once they've selected their final 50, then proceed to also, we actually do an interview. But because we also understand everybody's in different parts of the world, so what we do is we get you to send in a 3-minute video of yourself explaining why you want to join the academy. And Mr. Governor watches everything. And with Mr. Governor and the Developmental Committee, they pick the final 30. Prior to introducing that, we're doing the assessment center, whereby you come to the assessment center, which we also hope to reintroduce again in the next cohort. So it's a very meritocratic process. It's also quite rigorous, because also when you join the academy, it's like you're doing 2-3 masters in one.
So what are the various diverse areas of leadership training offered by the academy?
We have a partnership with Lagos Business School, so all our cohorts, they do a course, an executive course with Lagos Business School on macro and microeconomics, and also there's something called the McKinsey 7S, so they take us through that. So it's a fully certified course. We have leadership seminars whereby we dive in deep on different leadership attributes, so learning from the Martin Luther King to Lee Kuan Yew, to even the Awolowas, to the Jakondes, to Sanwo-Olus. You know, you learn about their leadership traits, their leadership skills. We also, even the Bible talks about leadership. So you read the story of Bathsheba and many more, and you know, and all of that, and you come to an understanding of who you are as a leader. We have a partner for that, which is the African Leadership Initiative for West Africa. So the curriculum is brought up from the Aspen Institute in the US. So our fellows do the entire curriculum. And it's such an exclusive thing, because even, for instance, the African Leadership Initiative for West Africa, they don't accept applications. They nominate people to join for that leadership course. So it's pretty exclusive. We also take many leadership courses on the wellness of our fellows. So they go through a wellness exercise, on breathing exercise, because as a leader, your mental health also matters. Because when you're responsible for others, you must have the ability to be above your own problems. And we collaborate with the Happiness Center. They also go through a fireside chat, so whereby we have renowned leaders from all over the world come to speak with them, to share their own leadership journey. So we've had the likes of Ige Mokwede, who is an exceptional partner of ours. We've had Dele Olojede, the first African Pulitzer Prize winner. I'm sure you would know how big the Pulitzer Prize is. It's like a Nobel Peace Prize. We've had moderators that work with them are like Dr. Mobala Johnson, Governor Sanwo-Olu, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, even Miss Bola Adeshola, and many more. Akim Bello Osage recently came over. Mr. Akim Bello Osage.
Fantastic.
Imagine just sitting in the room with them. There's usually this comedy about either you pick dinner with Jay-Z or 500,000. Getting those experience, how did you do it differently? What's made you excel? What's made you successful? What's made you stand out? Those are the conversations that they have in those rooms.
How did you get these personalities involved? Because this is more like getting the best.
Oh yeah, by all means. Guess what? The one thing I've realized is ultimately we're all human and we all wish to have a better situation. So when people do have the opportunity to give back, and I'm thanking these exceptional people because they have the opportunity to give back, they do. And considering that they have so many things that they are doing with their time, but they still do. So how do we get them involved? Aside from, Mr. Governor's power, pulling them in, but also I think it's the heart that they have towards understanding that it's important to give back. It's important to be part of something of value. And I'm glad that they see the value in the academy. That's how they come about.
So tell us, what's the core vision and your mission, really?
It's to groom the next generation of young leaders to build a just society.
All right, thank you very much. Well, in case you just joined us, we've been speaking with the Executive Secretary of the Lateef Jakonde Leadership Academy, Aisha Agbaje Okunade. It's been quite interesting. Of course, so far, we have, to a large extent, been able to ascertain the roadmap and the ideal intention of the academy to build a better society. Let's look at certain aspects of your process here: the work experience, the fellowship network, and the capstone experience. Can you give us, some detail?
Yeah, sure. We have 4 components. Those 4 core areas are for the fellowship. But we've managed to also create other things outside the fellowship: networking, leadership, work experience, and also capstone. When the fellows join us, part of their course for the 1 year is to shadow the MDAs, ministry, departments, and agencies, for the purpose of seeing how they do things, seeing how they plug that ministry into the Greater Lagos agenda. So when the fellows go into these MDAs, they shadow the commissioner or they shadow the leader or even the PAMSEC, and they work through that. So they are preparing to be commissioners one day or even governors. So why not see how those decision-making processes are happening? Because you get a better insight into the entire process, into everything, from the start to the end. So that's the work experience aspect. The leadership aspect of it is the leadership seminars that I've spoken about, the fireside chats. We do stuff called the brown bag. And then you have the capstones. Because we've poured into our fellows, we also believe that the first act of leadership is selflessness, being able to pour into others. So they go out, fundraise for a particular project of their choice, and they put that project together and they work on that project together. And that project must impact the community. So our last cohort, they innovated an entire Premier Healthcare Center. That's Isheri Premier Healthcare Center, and they digitalized it. They included solar powers and many more. And the second team also created something called Eco-Laws, whereby they explain the Lagos laws for the layman to understand. And the fourth one is the alumni network, obviously, which is coming together of all the alumni, the cohorts, and everybody being each other's accountability partners as they rise up the leadership scale. So because it's important to have accountability partners. Accountability partners keep you in check. They also stop you from going down that slippery slope. So that's those areas for the fellowship. But in the academy, we also do other things like planning the next Lagos Leadership Summit, where the last one we did was called Leadership and Nigeria's Future. I had over 5,000 people, whether attendance physically and virtually, young people. We had Governor Fashola at that event. We had Dr. Jumoke Otedola, who is currently the minister in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We had Minister Ayo Wisdom. We had so many people just come in to take part and, to speak to young people, to allow it to resonate. Even Governor Sanwo-Olu was right there, present all through. So that's another program that we do. There was something that still sticks with me that Governor Fashola had said. In trying to get young people to understand that perseverance is important, he said it's always sweeter after adversity.
To run a strategic, unique leadership community of this nature actually requires a dynamic workforce. So how would you describe your team?
They're a very young, dynamic team. Even the civil servants that work with us.
Is there any human capacity training programs?
Oh, yes. So as much as we do it with our fellows, our staff also go through the same thing. So we had the mental resilience class with the fellows recently. So our staff also went through one just to help them with the mental resilience. And, it's one thing to tell a story of Lateef Jakonde Leadership Academy, but you can't tell it without the staff. I think they're really the engine room with everything. They've just been amazing. Transparency, integrity, professionalism, empathy, and commitment. And that's been our major drive in whatever we do. And everybody's embodying. And it's been a journey of growth. And, I always say something that I see everybody's growth and it's so tangible. I could nearly hold it, physically feel it. And I appreciate that.
So with respect to the Themes Plus agenda of Mr. Governor, has the Academy been able to live up to the philosophy of the Themes Plus agenda?
It's very straightforward to situate ourselves in the Themes Plus. But I would be overshooting if I said that it's been an easy journey. Because when it comes to the action, and making sure that we are doing everything by books and making sure that we are actually impacting as much as possible. That would be another success matrix that we essentially need to look at. But in terms of situating ourselves, we situate ourselves in everything, as a matter of fact. Transportation, economically, health. I think though it's young people focused, they are the ones bringing innovative ideas. So even our cohort is always filled with young people. Different professionals, young doctors, 50% of the world is young people. So it's important that you literally also just create spaces for young people because they are the ones that take over tomorrow. Quite candidly, I believe the plus is what applies to us the most, which is the young people.
It's a fast-growing leadership academy. Are there challenges really? And how are you mitigating against these challenges?
Oh yeah, there are challenges because challenges is with grooming. So when people also join the academy, they're not perfect. They have rough edges. And the process of grooming is that you have rough edges, but we can also clean it up to be versatile, to be accountable, to be simpler, to be well-rounded. We can do all of that. So the challenges comes from cleaning up those rough edges to be able to, move from different battlegrounds to the other. Because as leaders, the battlegrounds differ every day. So the battleground can be your office today. It will be somewhere else. So you must be able to have that translucent, rather, or if that's the word, just move and have that diversity of just moving from one base to the other.
The academy has been 2 years now?
Yeah, nearly 2 years, yeah.
I just wanted to encapsulate to say, wow, this is what we have achieved?
It's been very vast, like a lot of human capital development is not instant. It's a slow transformation, but it's a worthwhile transformation. But the obvious ones are Mr. Governor graduated our press course last year. He came out at the end of the tunnel with lots of lights. A lot of them are in key positions right now. So we have one that was recently appointed as Senior Special Assistant to Mr. Governor. I think we have two that joined the service. Thankful to Mr. Governor. Mr. Aigi Mokwede recently sent 2 alumni on a standby course at Access Bank. I know quite a few of them that are placed in key positions, which gladdens my heart. They also go on international policy trips. So our last cohort went to India. We had a fantastic time in India. We met additional secretaries, which are like sort of PAMSEC ministers.
Why India?
Because Mr. Governor believes that India has very similar components to us in terms of population, in terms of diversity, in terms of culture, and we are the most populated black nation in the world. And I believe number 7 in the entire world. As also, there's a population, I wouldn't say a crisis, but there's population similarity there. Very hospitable people, so are we. So it was important to look at the policies they've adopted, to situate the people or bring them out of poverty, and how Nigeria can adopt the same. They've also created an alumni advisory council whereby they carry on projects. They recently had a project called Flag Up Lagos. It was one of the policies they saw with India. In India, you go there, you don't have to ask, what does your flag look like? Everywhere on the streets of India, images of their flag, whether it's light so it's white, orange, and green. So they wanted to adopt the same thing to say, okay, let's have green, white, green everywhere. So they've started that project. So that's a major achievement, particularly for me, because it aligns with what we're trying to do in terms of bringing everybody together for the purpose of continuity. We also have new programs that we're starting, particularly a mentorship program as well. So there's been some major highlights, and we have another international policy trip coming up. It's not stopping, it's just moving, and it's moving.
Aisha Agbaje Okunade, the Executive Secretary of the Lateef Jakonde Leadership Academy. It's been a fantastic and encouraging story, because building a leadership conscious society for a cosmopolitan city like Lagos is quite paramount and very, very important. Of course, we've been able to also ascertain the fact that there are bigger plans ahead. And of course, that brings us to your future projections. What are the future projections and plans to solidify the vision?
Thank you for that, because we currently have our law at the House of Assembly, and it's currently at the 3rd reading. And we're really grateful to the leadership of the House of Assembly, for their support thus far. So that's a future plan, gazetting. And as the governor continues to build this legacy project for the betterment of Lagosians.
For an academy of this nature, it is quite important you have some level of result-oriented synergy with ministries, agencies, and other MDAs. So what is the partnership level?
I'm so grateful for their collaborations and their open door. So many commissioners, permanent secretary, the head of service, he carries it on his head, He's such an inspiring leader, absolutely inspiring. The PS of the Public Service Office, every MDA has literally just embraced us. And it's so key, because those embraces are vivid in our fellows' journey. The collaboration is a work in progress. We're not there yet, but it's been effective. I could not have a lot of these success metrics without them. And I think I mentioned brown bags. We do brown bags with them. with these MDs where we sit down with them and we discuss and we break out sessions and all that. So the collaboration has been really something else, and I'm thankful for that. We're just focusing on building that, because the way we build with the MDAs is also the way we build with our mentors, is the way we build with our moderators, is the way we build with our fireside chats discussants, you know. So we are building, we are building.
Quite interesting. On a final note, what's your word of encouragement and assurance to your stakeholders, to your partners, to the graduates, and of course, prospective academy students?
Ultimately, we are building. We're trying to build a consensus amongst everyone. And the stakeholders you've mentioned, we want to continue thanking them and being grateful for that perspective or that notion, because it's very hard to find. I live on the quote, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000, which means I represent those that have come before me, I represent those that are currently with me, and I represent those that will come after me. So there's been selfless leadership, and in our partners, they've offered selfless leadership. And I can only tell them to continue. But because that's inherently who they are, and it's for a better society for all of us, prospective fellows, see you at the top.
Aisha Agbaje Okunade, thank you very much for coming on the City of Lagos TV
Thank
show.
you for having me.
And of course, I want to say, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Keep the flag flying. Don't leave any stone unturned. So your final shot, 2 Nigerians, 2 Lagosians.
Together we build. It's not one person. Together we build.
Thank you very much for coming on the program. It's been a wonderful time speaking with Aisha Agbaje Okunade, who is the Executive Secretary of the Lateef Jakonde Leadership Academy. It's been quite expository and well informing. I mean, getting to know that the Academy is waxing stronger by the day. The City of Lagos TV show will continue in a moment. We'll be right back. Lagos is on a fast track. You either move with it or you are left behind. See you next week.